Welcome to Explainer Insight. Today, I'm going to explain an action fantasy movie called The First Myth, released in the year 2021. A long time ago, a deity tried to stop the wars of humanity but was betrayed by his fellow men and killed as a result. His sisters vowed to take vengeance by enslaving the people, forcing the other gods to intervene in this catastrophe. Zeus arrives alongside his pupil, Erland, and plans to eradicate the heavens barrier set up by the goddesses to enslave the humans below. They are quickly attacked by numerous flying weapons that forces hurl and backwards, while the leader of the goddesses unit finally reveals herself. Zeus tries to reason with the woman, but she declares that everyone shall pay their souls for her brother's death as she reveals the astrolabe that's controlling the barrier. Erland's sisters and Rush are sent to attack the goddess, but he's no match for the enemy as he misses every strike and quickly gets overpowered by the woman's weapons. Zeus manages to interfere and push the woman back temporarily while telling his pupil to break the barrier as he distracts the goddess early and rushes towards the massive astrolabe and launches directly at the machine, but unconscious numerous fireballs and throws them at the man, knocking him onto the ground. The fire wave quickly surrounds the main character and eventually causing a large explosion as a result, sometimes later. Erland wakes up in a room that he doesn't recognize and walks out into what appears to be a village. Realizing that he was probably saved by the villagers here, suddenly the sky begins turning dark and the woman stares solemnly into the crowd, where numerous men in black clothing are walking towards her. It turns out that the woman's name is Moon, and her soul is meant to be a sacrifice for the goddess. Sis will have enslaved the people before she can enter the carriage. The girl is quickly pulled away by her brother, Lang, who refuses to make any more sacrifices for the deities. He tries to fight off the men in black, but the enemies begin to conjure up their energies altogether, fusing into a terrifying monster that roars furiously at the humans, causing everyone to run for their lives. The giant creature attacks the people, viciously wreaking havoc in the process as it knocks everyone into the air in the moment of chaos. Moon sees a young girl who's knocked to the ground and Rush is sent to save the child as the monster charges her way before the woman can be killed. The creature is quickly stopped as Erland punches Sit right in the face and knocks it backwards while jumping into the air, stopping the enemy in the heart and finally ending the fight. The woman rushes to thank her savior, but the village leader tells them that it's too early to celebrate, as the goddess is sure to take vengeance on the people for refusing the sacrifice. However, the old man quickly sees the symbol on the main character's necklace and realizes that it's the same mark as the gods, making the village leader believe that Erland is a deity here to help the people. The men refuse the assertion and states that his body is mortal. Despite his origins from heaven, as he lacks the power to become a deity and is only a demigod, despite everything, the old man wants Erland to help their village, showing the picture of the goddess who's enslaving his people. In the main character immediately recognizes the woman as the same person that he fought in the heavens. Erland promises to people that he'll stop this evil goddess, but he must first obtain the legendary weapon known as the Slayer of Gods, which is inside the Tower of Defecation so that he can stand a chance against the enemy. Moon has also volunteered to come along, as well as she has the ability to see demons in their true form, and she also wants to repay Erland for saving her life. They head out towards the tower immediately, and the woman tries to get to know her savior by flirting at the man and refuses to become a simp as he walks around like a Terminator just when their conversation is going nowhere. The man quickly stops her and begins walking towards her like in a typical Korean drama. The woman is obviously loving this as she prepares to be kissed by her land, grabs onto her and throws his weapon towards the tree, catching the man that was following them, who turns out to be Lang. The woman is furious at her brother for blocking her mating ritual, while the men insist that their meeting is accidental. But this is quickly proven to be a lie as he shows the navigation ability of a drunken cat and the anger management of Charlie Sheen. After walking for many hours, the night eventually comes while the people arrive at a restaurant that is suspiciously in the middle of nowhere. They head inside the building and sees numerous people dining in the middle of the room. The group decides to grab a table and sit down, but quickly notices a beautiful woman walking out from the second floor. Will catches the attention of all the men as she displays her amazing legs. The woman turns the attention towards her land and tries, seducing the man by pouring him a drink. While Moon is clearly unhappy at the competition. Luckily, Erland refuses the offer as he's not very fond of paying child support, but grabs onto the woman's arm immediately as he noticed something wrong from the very beginning. The man quickly points out that everything in this room is likely an illusion as the customers are repeating the same motions like they are stuck in the Matrix. This causes Moon to focus our energy, to look through the woman and sees that the lady is missing her mouth, causing her to fall back in fear as they realized that the girl is a demon, the woman flies away immediately and escapes onto the second floor while the restaurant is turned back into his true form that's filled by skeletons of travelers. As a spirit of a scholar is writing furiously in the center of the room, the demon launches at the man and begins striking him by using her magic while she effortlessly dodges the counters of the main character and flying into the air with no other choice. Then throws his weapon at the enemy. But the woman blocks the attack easily and throws the spear onto the ceiling. The demon begins charging up all her energy as she levitates everything around her and forming a giant sphere, eventually launching the weapons at the man, tossing her learn to run immediately. She continues directing her attack towards the demigod, causing him to desperately dodge the flying spikes while finally getting back his weapon from the second floor as he prepares to charge them once more. At the same time, Moon is able to see something strange on the woman's hairpin, as one of the latter is obviously missing, and realizes that it must be the secret to defeating the demon. Land charges and quickly and tries to help his teammates. That gets knocked away immediately by the woman's power, having a chance to take away the enemy's hairpin. The demon counters right away by attacking the girl, but Erland Rush isn't just in time to block the projectiles by using his aura, causing all the spikes to bounce off his body and allowing Moon to finish the word on the hairpin. Finally, breaking the curse and stopping all the attacks, the people notice that the spirit of the scholar has quickly disappeared, allowing the demon to regain her mouth as well. It turns out that the girl was actually created by the scholar's writings as the man became obsessed in understanding the truth of becoming a god. Through his passion, the man eventually began making mistakes in his words, eventually causing his own death and creating the spirits. The demon takes a lotus lantern and gives it to Moon before disappearing into the air and fusing with the object as she promises to guide the people towards the Tower of Deification. The next morning, the people continue traversing across the forest, eventually making it through an opening while they stare directly across at the massive tower. They make it into the building and sees a little demon sitting across the room with demands that they play a game of catch in order to move on to the next level. The man snaps his fingers and bamboos began to appear from the ground, eventually turning into a giant forest as everyone watches in amazement. The demon explains that they must take the sword away from his back without being touched, or they'll end up exactly like the many statues around them and be petrified into stone. He charges at the people immediately and forcing everyone to jump away while then runs desperately from the area, trying to lure the enemy away from his friends. The little man demonstrates incredible speed as he runs around like the Flash by Earl and is able to save his teammate just in time by knocking the enemy away. They plan to trick the demon as Land grabs onto the bamboo and swings towards the enemy, barely missing the man in the process. This gives the demigod the chance to tie up the opponent as they hang the demon upside down in the air and getting the sword as a result. The portal opens behind the peephole and finally allows them to move on to the next stage, but the enemy manages to break free in the last moment and charges at the group. This forces Learn to stop the demon by grabbing onto him and turning the men into stone, but the others have no choice but to leave. They make it to the next room by going through the portal, while Moon is forced into tears after witnessing her own brother's death. But the demigod assures the woman that they can save the men if they obtain the Slayer of Gods before the two are able to mourn. A terrible darkness begins surrounding the room, causing numerous crystals to form around the people. As a woman turns around and introduces herself as the Demon of Mirrors, she demands the people to paint a picture of herself, claiming that if they draw her correctly, she'll reveal the entrance to the next room, realizing that there must be a trick. Moon decides to use her abilities to see through the demon and quickly tells her teammate about the truth. They begin sketching the pictures on the paper, and very soon the enemy takes the drawings away from the people and is surprised to see that they have painted themselves. The demigod explains that the demon's true form is a mirror, and therefore her appearance will always be a reflection. The woman is furious that they are able to see through her tricks and has no choice but to show them the portal towards the next room. Erland grabs onto the girl's hand and quickly runs towards the exit. While everything begins collapsing inside this realm, the Moon was not able to go through the portal in time. The man tries desperately to pull her inside, but the girl tells him to let go so that he has a chance to obtain the weapon and save everyone with no other choice. Erland forces himself to look away and releases the woman, causing Moon to vanish immediately right behind him before the man can recover from his loss. A final anime stands in his way and tells the demigod to win the fight so that he may obtain the Slayer of Gods. Realizing that the man only has a mortal body, the word demon allows him to use any of the magical weapons in the building. To gain the advantage, the demigod throws his weapon away and grabs onto the spirit of Mirza, trying to burn the enemy by using the flames. but the word demon deflects the attack easily and sends the man flying backwards. Erland quickly grabs onto the staff of Lei and fires the lightning at the enemy. But the opponent manages to hold onto the elements and throws it back. Was tossing the men onto the ground, realizing that he's running out of options. Erland begins throwing all the weapons furiously at the enemy, but the word demon is able to shatter everything in sight and punching the man right into the walls. The enemy laughs at the main character for relying on the powers of others and mocks him for trying so hard to become a god, telling him to give up right now. However, Erland refuses to let his friends die in vain and finally begins embracing who he really is as he grabs onto his own weapon and prepares to fight. The man charges at the enemy and pierces through the opponent's body in a single strike, turning the demon into spectrums of light that fuses onto his weapon and changing its shape as a result. It turns out that the Slayer of Gods was never a physical object to begin with, but the courage to unleash one's true power from the inside. Suddenly, the man hears a voice calling for him and realizes that Moon has actually survived, and the two embrace each other right away. As Erland can no longer hold back his feelings, their mating ritual is interrupted once again by Moon's brother as he was able to survive as well and managed to obtain a weapon of his own. The woman shows that she has also acquired the power of the Mirror Demon as she now has the ability of teleportation. Before they can celebrate, the tower begins crumbling down and the people are forced to evacuate immediately from the area once they make it outside. The group realizes that it's the evil goddess who is devouring the entire building and stealing all the weapons away. She thanks the people for helping her unlock the tower and giving the chance to consume all this power before disappearing into the sky. Luckily, the group is able to follow the goddess by using Moon's ability and begins attacking the evil deity right away as they use their newly acquired powers. Erland is pushed back easily by the woman's aura while she grabs onto Langer's face and smashes them onto the wall. The demigod tries to launch a second attack, but there are obviously no match for the goddess by themselves. The people recover quickly and decides to combine their powers to defeat the enemy as Moon teleports demands attacks onto the goddess, allowing them to aim for the woman's blind spots and giving them a chance to capture the opponents. However, the woman's power is too much as she's able to break free and strikes her land right in the chest, sending him flying across the field and causing him to spit out blood. The goddess tries to finish the kill by throwing a massive weapon at a demigod, but Moon manages to block the attack by using all her powers to protect her friend. No matter how hard she tries, the enemy's aura is too strong as it breaks through the shield and fatally wounding the girl in the process. Erland grabs onto her right away while Moon's brother rushes in towards the enemy so that he may avenge his family as he attacks the woman with all his might. Their energies crush into each other while the goddess continues throwing weapons at Lang, eventually managing to overpower the man as he gets penetrated by numerous blades that knocks him onto the ground and killing him as a result. At the same time, Moon is slowly dying inside the man's arms, and she wants to know if the demigod has ever truly loved her while tears roll down from her eyes. Erland quickly grabs onto her hand and tells her that he's always loved her ever since the first time that they met, causing the woman to finally smile as she eventually passes away. The girl's body slowly turns into dust and vanishes into the winds, causing Erland to feel immense pain in his heart. After losing the person that he loved earlier and finally realizes what it means to become a deity as he must protect everything that's precious in this life, the man begins transforming into a true god. As the third eye appears on his forehead, giving him tremendous power in the process as he summons his weapon. Like Thor, the evil goddess begins attacking the men by throwing numerous weapons at him, but Erland easily dodges the attacks like they are nothing. Yoon tries to conjure all her powers and launches a barrage of blaze at the god, but Erland is able to pierce right through the attack as he pushes closer towards the woman and overpowering her magic in the process that they are. He unleashes all his powers and slams onto the ground, causing a massive shockwave that begins shattering the entire platform and destroying the astrolabe that's enslaving the people. The entire area eventually crumbles into dust as Erland flies towards the dragon's orb and taking the magical items so that no one can misuse it anymore. The deity drops down into the ashes while the other goddesses appear as well, planning to use all their powers in the battle as they begin to fuse together, eventually turning into a massive creature that towers over everything. Erland stares the enemy right in the eye and charges directly towards the giant, eventually landing on the creature's arm as he rushes closer towards the opponent's head. The enormous statue tries to crush the man by slamming onto the ground, but Erland is able to evade the attack and counters by shooting laser from his eye while pushing his weapon right through the enemy. The massive creature crumbles into pieces as the goddesses fall onto the ground, while Erland takes the chance and tries to finish the kill. However, the man is quickly stopped by an outside force that makes him retract his weapon. It turns out that the goddess's master has arrived to stop the conflict as he punishes his pupils by sending them into isolation until they realize their faults. The old man thanks to Dante for stopping this chaos, but reminds him that he now has more responsibility for the mortals than ever before. Sometimes later the day goes back to the village of Moon and puts a talisman on the lotus lantern while he remembers the woman that he loves and promises to find her in the next life. That was all from the video. I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more content like this and hit the like button to help us out. Also, leave a comment if you want us to explain your favorite movie. Until next time, take care.